Can a bone scan tell if you have cancer? That's a question more people ask than you'd think, especially when doctors start ordering tests like DEXA scans for someone in their 60s complaining of back pain or fragile bones. It's easy to assume that if a machine is checking your bones, it must be able to catch everything wrong with them, right? But here's the twist. Not all bone tests are created equal, and the kind most people get as they age might not be looking for what you think it is. There's a lot of confusion about what a bone density scan actually tells us, and what it doesn't. Some folks walk out of the clinic thinking they've been cleared of serious conditions like bone cancer just because their scan looked okay. Others hear the word osteoporosis and instantly fear the worst, imagining it could be something more dangerous hiding underneath. It's no wonder. With so many test machines and medical terms flying around, bone scan, density test, PET scan, MRI, it's easy to mix them all up. But if you're in your 40s, 50s, or 70s, or you've got aging parents going through these checkups, this is something you'll want to understand clearly. Because knowing what a bone density test is actually meant to do can make a big difference. Not just in how we react to the results, but in how we take care of our bones moving forward. And that's exactly what we're going to unpack, one layer at a time. If you're someone who cares about your bones, your joints, your back, or you just want to stay strong and active as you get older, go ahead and follow this channel. We'll walk through the real answers together in a way that's natural, useful, and never fear-based. Just honest, practical tips, like we're chatting across a kitchen table. When my neighbor Linda turned 65, her doctor recommended a bone density test. She'd been feeling a little more stiffness in her knees and wondered if osteoporosis was creeping in. She was relieved when the test came back normal, but a few weeks later, she learned a family friend had just been diagnosed with bone cancer, and she asked me, does the bone density test pick that up too? Could I have missed something? That's a common worry. It helps to know that a bone density test, usually called a DEXA scan, isn't designed to find cancer. Its main job is to measure how strong or weak your bones are by checking the mineral content in places like your hip and spine. If your bones are thinning, it'll show that clearly, but it won't spot tumors or other unusual growths. Think of it like checking how solid the wood in a chair is. The DEXA scan tells you if the wood's starting to rot or get brittle, but it doesn't see if there's a bug infestation hiding inside. For spotting cancer or other serious bone diseases, doctors rely on different imaging tools, like MRI or PET scans, which look deeper into bone structure or metabolism. These scans are more detailed and often ordered when symptoms point to something unusual beyond just bone loss. Now, why does this matter to us, everyday people who just want to keep moving and avoid pain? Because understanding what tests can and can't tell you helps avoid unnecessary fear or confusion. If your bone density test shows low density, that's a clear sign to take steps like improving nutrition or adjusting daily habits to support stronger bones. But if you're worried about cancer, it's important to talk to your doctor about symptoms and what kind of scan might actually help. Linda started paying more attention to what she ate, adding leafy greens and some gentle stretching routines. Simple changes that helped ease her knee stiffness without jumping straight to scary conclusions. This kind of awareness, knowing what tests do, lets us focus on practical steps to keep bones and joints healthy, rather than getting caught up in what a single test can't tell us. One thing I've noticed, especially with folks around our age, is how easy it is to misunderstand what tests mean and what our bodies really need. I remember my Uncle Jack always worried about his bones because his doctor mentioned degeneration after a scan. He thought that meant his bones were crumbling fast and that he'd be wheelchair-bound soon. But really, degeneration just means some wear and tear, something pretty normal as we get older. And here's where the confusion about tests comes in again. A bone density test measures the strength of your bones, but it won't tell you how stiff your joints are or if your spine is developing arthritis. Those are different issues, even though they all affect how you move and feel. For joint stiffness or back pain, gentle movement is one of the best remedies. My Aunt Mary, who has had some arthritis in her hands, found that just moving her fingers regularly while waiting for her morning coffee helped keep the stiffness at bay. Simple things like this, done daily, make a difference over time. Another mistake people often make is thinking that popping supplements will fix everything. Calcium and vitamin D are important for bone health, yes, but it's the whole diet that counts. Eating plenty of colorful veggies, some healthy fats, and protein supports the body's ability to maintain strong bones and flexible joints. Linda, from the last part, started adding foods like spinach and salmon after a bone density test showed she could improve her numbers. It wasn't about pills. It was about nourishing her body gently and naturally. So, while the bone density test tells you about one part of bone health, your daily habits, what you eat, how you move, and even how you stand or sit, play a huge role in keeping you comfortable and active. I'll share some easy movements and little habit changes in a moment that you can do anytime, no fancy equipment needed. Because taking care of your bones and joints is something we can all do every day. Sometimes it's the smallest things that quietly make a big difference for our bones and joints. Take posture, for example. I used to slouch at my desk, thinking it was just a harmless habit. But over time, that slight forward hunch put extra pressure on my spine and made my lower back ache more than it should. One easy change I made was to gently roll my shoulders back and keep my chest open while working or watching TV. Not a dramatic overhaul, just a little reminder to sit up straighter. It sounds simple, but even this small shift helped reduce stiffness and made moving easier throughout the day. While waiting for your morning tea to steep or the kettle to boil, you can do some gentle stretches to ease tightness. Try slowly tilting your head from side to side or shrugging your shoulders up and down. These little movements boost circulation around your neck and shoulders, areas where tension often builds up, especially if you've been sitting for a while. If your knees or hips feel stiff, try standing up and doing a few slow knee bends, almost like a tiny squat, but without forcing it. Doing this regularly can keep your joints lubricated and ready to move without pain. Linda told me she started doing these stretches while watching her favorite shows, just a few minutes here and there, and noticed she could get around more comfortably without relying on pain meds. Nutrition ties into this as well. It's no secret that foods rich in anti-inflammatory properties, like turmeric or ginger, can soothe joint discomfort for some people. Grandma's turmeric tea, passed down for generations, might not replace modern medicine, but it's a comforting ritual that some swear by. Just remember, if you're taking medications or have other health issues, check with your doctor before adding new herbs or supplements. The important thing is that these habits fit naturally into your daily life. No need for complicated routines or expensive gadgets. Just small, mindful choices that add up over time. Because the best way to keep your bones and joints happy is to listen to your body and care for it gently every day. Another piece of the puzzle that often gets overlooked is how much our everyday habits affect not just the bones themselves, but the joints and muscles that support them. For example, standing or walking for long periods on hard surfaces without proper shoes can add stress to your knees and hips. My friend George, who used to stand at his job for hours in worn-out shoes, started feeling joint pain that he thought was just getting old. After switching to cushioned, supportive footwear, the difference was night and day. It's these small lifestyle details, what we wear, how we move, even how we sleep, that quietly shape our bone and joint health over the years. Sleep, in particular, is when our body repairs itself, including bones and cartilage. Not getting enough rest or sleeping in awkward positions can make morning stiffness worse and slow healing. You might wonder, if a bone density test can't show cancer, what happens if someone does have a bone tumor or other serious issue? Usually, those problems come with symptoms like unusual pain that doesn't go away, swelling, or even fractures that happen from minor bumps. When that happens, doctors will order more specialized scans to look closer, the kind of imaging that actually shows tumors or abnormal growths. Knowing this can help calm worries. If your test results say your bone density is fine, or only a little low, and you don't have unusual symptoms, chances are you're on a good track. But if you ever feel persistent pain or swelling, don't ignore it. That's a sign to get checked more thoroughly. Linda's story reminded me that fear often comes from not knowing. Once she understood what the bone density test was really about, she stopped stressing and started focusing on what she could control: eating well, moving gently, and keeping a positive mindset. Taking care of our bones isn't about chasing perfect tests or fearing every ache. It's about making steady, kind choices for ourselves The kind of choices that help us keep doing the things we love, whether that's gardening, playing with grandkids, or just enjoying a peaceful walk. It's funny how sometimes we expect quick fixes when it comes to health, especially as we get older. But bones and joints, they work on their own timetable. Slow and steady wins the race. My aunt used to tell me, you can't rush a tree to grow tall, just like you can't rush your bones to get stronger overnight. That wisdom rings true. It's about daily habits that, over months and years, build resilience. Like choosing to walk a little more instead of driving, or swapping out processed snacks for a handful of walnuts or some fresh berries. Those small steps feed your bones and muscles with the nutrients and activity they need to stay healthy. One thing I've learned is to listen to my body's signals without jumping to worst-case scenarios. A bit of stiffness in the morning doesn't mean something terrible. Sometimes it just means my joints need a gentle stretch and some movement to wake up properly. And if I feel persistent or sharp pain, that's my cue to see a healthcare professional. Understanding what tests like the bone density scan can do and what they can't helps take some of the anxiety out of those doctor visits. It puts the power back in our hands. So we focus on what really matters, how we live and care for ourselves every day. If you found yourself worrying about tests or wondering how to keep your bones and joints strong, remember that you're not alone. It's a journey, and it's okay to take it one step at a time. Thinking about our bones and joints, it's easy to get caught up in numbers or scans. But what truly matters is how we feel in our daily lives. The freedom to move without pain, the joy of simple activities with loved ones. That's the real measure of health. When Linda finally understood that a bone density test wasn't a catch-all for every bone problem, she found peace. Instead of fear, she found motivation to care for herself in ways that felt natural and doable, like savoring a turmeric tea, stretching gently in the morning light, or simply enjoying a walk outside. We all deserve that kind of ease and comfort in our bodies. It's never too late to start small, to make choices that honor and protect our bones and joints, without overwhelming ourselves with what tests might or might not say. If this has helped you or made you think differently about your bone health, please share it with your parents, friends, or anyone who might benefit. Because caring for our bones is caring for the life we want to live, active, vibrant, and full of moments that matter. Remember, your bones support you every day. Treat them kindly, and they'll support you for years to come.